The other key thing to look at this thing is the initial deposit. The taxes, as you know on your escrow account, like we just talked about on the page, we started out on the good faith estimate. No matter what time of year that we issued that good faith estimate in the old times, it was pretty much the same estimate. Today, page 2 showed a February 15th closing. Page 4 showed an October 15th closing. And if you look, your bottom line went from $13,000 and change to $18,000 and change. So depending on what time of year they receive this estimate, it will change because there's more money going into the deposits. We're not showing any seller paid anything. So it's going to be very, very confusing to a borrower. We've already had quite a few who received this, and phone's ringing. They're wanting to know. But if you were to do the math on this thing, on that second page, you know, this $13,000 number here, well, if you did take out the MIP, and you did take out the seller title policy, and you took out about a month and a half worth of taxes, and half the escrow fee, you're about there. But again, it's showing all fees. Okay.
Is the title, are you all going to change your estimate, closing cost estimate sheets that you've been sending out?
The fees are the same.
The fees are the same.
I'm almost done.
But they're still going to get credit on the line. This is just for the
same. They'll get charged on the same.
When y'all go over the client on this, are y'all telling them, look, this is not going to happen, and this is how
We're taking our worksheet and going over the, you know, the actual, what we think is close to what's going to be their payment and their closing costs.
To be honest, a lot of these aren't even showing up in an application at this point. Either they don't have a property, or we haven't done the research to figure out the details to issue it yet. We have 3 days from application to get this to them. Go ahead.
$18,000 to $10,000 what they need, that's a lot of difference in money. That could scare a buyer off immediately.
Well, they're not going to really know what they're looking at, to be honest with you. And that's where you guys, and this is one of the reasons why we're here to prep you, is that you're going to be getting questions, and you do want to at least know what, you know, what the issue is. That it's not really, the good faith estimate used to tell you how much you're bringing to closing and what your payment's going to be. Now the good faith estimate is really just a list of charges from all parties. Okay?
That's maybe how you should explain it.
It's really not the good faith estimate was before. Yes, ma'am.
So the origination charge, I realize it includes the origination, but does it include the legal fee? What's in that? The appraisal and the credit aren't in it.
The appraisal and credit aren't, but all the other fees. If you went to that first page we had, the top lender fees, I think it's pretty much everything there but appraisal and credit. I'm pretty sure it's all those, our underwriting fee, our loan administration, warehouse, loan docs, things of that nature. Okay, issues with the new good faith estimate. Why is it an issue? Well, it overstates the cost of the borrower because those costs aren't all the borrowers. They're not paying $13,000 or $18,000 in closing costs. The seller's paying a big portion of those. It does not give an estimate of the PITI. There's no payment on there. It doesn't give an estimate of how much to bring to closing. It doesn't show a sales price on the good faith estimate, which is also nice. I mean, you can't even tell what sales price it's based on, which is pretty confusing. And then it confuses the borrower without a doubt. So, you know, our question was, it didn't look like that HUD spent any time with title reps, real estate agents, or, you know, loan originators before they kicked this form out. All right, so where are we going now? Well, almost all lenders had to come up with something. In fact, that guy named Ken Harney, who writes that article, boy, he just scathed the lending community for circumventing the good faith estimate and sidestepping it because we were using these worksheets. Well, guys, we really didn't have a whole lot of choice to come up with something to help the borrowers know what their payment out of pocket is going to be. So most all of us are coming up with something that'll show, you know, what they want to know. And here they are. Looks just like it did before. So here's what we've done. We've had to take out the HUD numbers. We've had to take out the word estimate. We now call it projected worksheet. There's no signature lines anymore. So there's definite things that it's not allowed to do. But the bottom line is we still have to have something. So our estimate will still, pretty much our worksheet will show them kind of what to expect. But this is nowhere a legal document. It is strictly a worksheet. They don't sign it. We're not bound by it. We're bound by this new good faith estimate and it's a promulgated form. The worksheet is because we have to still answer the same questions we've had to answer over the past 20 years, 30 years, whatever it is. So, thanks a lot for making it easier, guys. It's going to be a lot tougher. I'm going to let it go over here. There's one more thing since I'm not going to come back. I'm going to mention one more thing that's changing just real quick that has to do with lending, and then the HUD one will go over to show you how the good faith estimate transfers did. Effective April 5th, FHA has increased the upfront MIP from 1.75 to 2.25. So on this same $200,000 deal, that means it would go up about $1,000 in MIP up front. It'll be financed. So the good news is where rates are now, that's about $6 in their monthly payment for the new buyer. Okay, that's not a big hit. I mean, obviously we don't want to have an increase, but FHA's below their reserve requirements. They're having to get more MIP put in the reserves to build them back up. So that goes in effect on all case numbers issued April 5th or after. This summer, they haven't told us when yet, they're going to be raising or lowering the seller contribution. You guys are going to notice this one. This is when, you know, we're asking the seller to pay as much closing costs as they can to get our buyers in with the minimum amount, 3.5%. That's going to be reduced. So therefore, you're 3%, just like a conventional 5% down, you're just going to be held to a 3% limit. Again, that won't go into effect until sometime this summer, has yet to be done. And then tax benefits, everybody's asking us about that. I pulled the quote right off the HUD website. It's a little confusing because they say before May and before July 1st. So really, your deadlines for writing a contract are April 30th and closing by June 30th for the $8,000 tax credit and then the $6,500 move-up credit.
And in the back, there's a little flyer thing that you can kind of compare, like what it was last year versus this year, and the dates, you know, that you're held to.
Hey, Jerry, you may not know the answer to this question, but, because I'm asking about the 6,500 for the seller. It's my understanding they only have to occupy the house 3 years out of the last 5 years. Does it matter what 3 years it is if it's, am I correct about that?
I thought it was 5 years.
Five of the last eight.
There's something I pulled off of the IRS website that says
That's
3 out of the
Most
last
3
5.
years.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not the 6,500.
It's 5 out of the last 8 years from what I understand.
Okay.
Now, one other thing y'all do need to know, if there is a change